Howdy everybody, I'm Matt, welcome to Savage Flies. So earlier today I was sitting down at the bench just playing around, experimenting, trying to come up with what we're going to tie for our 2021 Christmas streamer. And I broke out a material I haven't used in quite a while. It's a silver Mylar tube used for a body material. Now I don't tie a lot of flies with this. In fact, I don't think I've ever tied one for the channel. So I did a little bit of research and learned that really any streamer that you tie with a flat silver tinsel body, you can tie with this Mylar tubing as well. So I searched for a few patterns that we could do this with. I thought about doing it with a Mickey fin or a black-nosed dace, but I ultimately decided on a Lew Oatman original called the Silver Darter. Now heads up, what I'm about to tie right now is definitely not the Lew Oatman original. His is a very elegant pattern, a super slim white silk body with a silver rib on it. Uses a beautiful silver badger for the wing, even jungle cock eyes. What I'm about to tie is definitely a fishing fly. It doesn't look that much like the original. But if you are interested in the original pattern that Lew Oatman created probably sometime in the 1950s, Mike Valla has it in his classic streamer fly box, but it was also in Joseph Bates' Streamer Fly Tying and Fishing, published in 1950. So Lew Oatman's original pattern, beautiful, elegant, nice streamlined, pretty much a feather wing streamer. And that's not what you're going to see today. We're going to tie a fishing fly. So quick question, when would you ever use this Mylar tube type body instead of a flat silver tinsel? It doesn't really save you much time, but what I think it does give you, it's just a fatter body, maybe a little bit softer and a fatter looking profile. So it's not a hard pattern to tie, and what you'll learn by watching this one is just one technique for tying in a silver tube for a body. But it's a pretty cool pattern. I hope you like it. Let's give it a shot. So there's one in the vise, a Silver Darter. Now we are doing this with the Mylar tubing for the body. You certainly don't have to do that for this pattern, but that's just one of the tactics I want to show you tonight. Now I'm tying this on a size 6. It's a 5X long streamer hook. Let's go ahead and pinch that barb right there and get that affixed in there nice and straight if we can. Now the first thread I'm using, it's going to be a red, and I'm stepping this up. Typically I will tie, on a 70 denier, but this is a 210. And I'm using the thicker thread for the back because it's part of the tag. So I want the red thread to be part of my tag. Let's go ahead and catch your thread in and then snip it off. Now the first thing we're going to catch in is this Mylar tubing. So this one is actually called Flashabou, minnow body, but you'll normally see it just called Mylar tubing in a small or medium. Now what you'll want to do is cut off a piece a little bit bigger than you think. So that right there, we're going to push it through to the back about right there, and then leave it at least out over the point of your hook, because we're going to kind of bunch it up here in just a minute. But this tubing has got I don't know if that's cotton or some kind of polypropylene core to it, but you might need to take your tweezers or something to grab it and then just pull that out. So now we've got a hollow tube here. And we're just going to slide this in right there a little bit past our thread. See that? Now kind of bunch it up, do a pinch wrap or two right here, and then we'll take a look at it. It'll want to spin on you, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. So we got 3 or 4 good wraps right there. Now some patterns will purposely leave this long and you make a little tail out of that. This pattern, no, we don't do that. So we're going to have to spend a little bit of time trimming this up. Now I'm going to do this with my hair scissors, my big thick scissors. It's not real thick stuff, but cutting a lot of Mylar tinsel like this, it's probably not the best thing for your good scissors. So I'm going to use my poopy scissors here and just hack at this until I get it nice and short. Okay, that's short enough. Don't spend a ton of time on it, but it'll take you a few seconds, I guess. I'm letting my thread flatten out right here, and I'm just going to ramp this back up. This is part of the fly right here, and it's going to be our, our butt end, our red tail or tag, whatever you want to call it. So build this up as much as you want. Okay, I think that's going to be fine right there. And if you have a big whip finisher, yeah, go ahead and use it. I don't have one big enough, so I'm going to have to do this by hand. If you don't know how to whip finish by hand, just go to YouTube, search how to whip finish by hand. I have a video on it, and it's not really hard to learn, and it's pretty convenient to know how to do. So after you've whip finished it, however you do, let's go ahead and get rid of this red thread right here. And I left a tag right there. That is annoying. Shouldn't have got lazy. Let's see if I can, get rid of that. Cut it a little bit shorter. We'll be fine. We'll bury that with some head cement when we do put our cement on the back there. Okay, now let's switch our thread to the black, what we're gonna make our head. And envision where your eye is. So my eye is kind of right there. I'm gonna push this back just a little bit, and I'm gonna put a couple of loose wraps just to bind this in right here behind my eye where I want the front of this body to be. So before I really catch it in, take a look at it. Is that going to be enough to tie in my wing and throat? Yeah, I think it is. So let's go ahead and then get this caught in. We're going to have to trim this tag in just a second. These are tight wraps right here. Okay. And I've got my hook a little bit out of alignment there. Let's go ahead and take care of this tag right here. And we're going to need to do the same thing on the front that we did in the back. Just spend a few seconds trimming this up as short as you can get it right here. Okay, I think we're fine right there. So that's our body. Go ahead and bury these. So think about it. Did we save any time by doing this Mylar body than say if we'd have just wrapped a rib or a flat Mylar tinsel all the way up? Probably didn't. With having to trim it on the front and the back, I don't think we saved any time at all, but it does give you a thicker body and it's a lot more flash to it. So that's one of the advantages, and I think one of the reasons people use this type body. So the next thing we're going to catch in is our wing, and I want to use this is a furnace, but grab a furnace or a badger colored, just some kind of feathers that are going to be fairly light, but with that darker, stripe toward the middle, kind of like that right there. And that was a cheap saddle that I'm using, so, I'm not really able to find a nice and left and right matching pair. I'm just going to do the best I can with these two feathers right here. And I want it kind of long, well past the bend of the hook right there. So I want to measure my length, switch hands, and now I'll just strip some of this off right here so I can get a tie-in point. Is that going to be the length? Yeah, I think we'll be just fine with that right there. Now I'm going to catch these in, just try to get them right on top without them canting around on me. So I'll do a loose and then a medium wrap or two and take a look at it. Is that going to be coming off the top? Yeah, it's close enough. Like I said, these are not the best feathers. So I'm going to go forward with a few more tight wraps. And now back, take a look at it. Yeah, that's fine. See, they're a little bit wonky on me. But again, a fishing fly, I'm not the least bit worried. Let's go ahead and snip these butt ends off right there. Now we do have a throat on this guy. And oddly enough, I rarely ever use Peacock sword fibers here, but I'm using them for 2 ties in a row now, so just a pure coincidence. But on this guy, I'm using quite a few, so I've got about, I'd say 8 strands right here. I'm gonna flip it over and then just catch them in on the bottom with a couple wraps, and we can adjust the length if we need to. So how do we look right there? I think that's going to be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead with a couple more wraps to secure this and snip them off up front. Okay, now let's finish this head up. So this head is a little bit longer than I would liked, but it's fine. It's definitely fishable. I think we've got enough body there to give the fly that that silver look, and then the wing is going to give it the nice profile. So let's go ahead and whip finish this right here at the back of the head. Now's the time for any cleanup. If we got any cleanup, you might, trim that throat there if you want to, but I'm fine with that. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to put a drop of resin on the front and then on the back. You'll just probably want to lift your wings up and touch to the back, spin it around. That'll harden it up and give it a nice glossy look. So there it is, a silver darter streamer with a Mylar tube for a body. Not a hard tie and a pretty nifty looking pattern. So I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.